Hi guys! On this video series, I will be sharing how I created this jacket, starting with my flat template, then adding fabric and shading to create what's called a float, and then every step I did to get to a more realistic and 3D looking garment. Now that we have a stonewashed denim look, let's add some rips and distress effects. Do this on a new layer. And yes, these rip stamps are also available on my shop. They are very affordable and will save you a ton of time. Start with the stamp in white. Here it looked way too bright, so I lowered the opacity and did it again. Then duplicate it. And switch the bottom one to a dark tonal shade. I also used a basic paintbrush to add some loose threads. Since the process repeats for all of these stamps I added, I'll pick up the speed on the video again. I also added some more abrasion around edges using the shadows and highlights brush in white. For this, use soft strokes right at the edge of the clipping masks. Make this irregular and uneven for a realistic effect. Now, let's kick the 3D effect up a notch. Grab the shadows brush again, and this time choose a tonal color that's almost black. Go back to each blue shadows clipping mask layers and paint with a very narrow but strong stroke, especially around the outer edges of the garment. Doing this removes the need for the line sketch. Instead of having a black line, you have a diffused shadow that gives it a more realistic look. This part of the process reminds me of airbrushing. If you need to slow down the pace, go to your YouTube settings by clicking on the wheel at the bottom of the video window and decrease the playback speed there. Now let's add a new layer for some whiskers and fold lines. These stamps are also available on my shop. I will add all the links to the description below. I will be using distress stamps number 8 and number 14. Start with the stamps in white and adjust the size and shape with the wrap and advanced mesh tools we used earlier for the buttonholes. Once you are happy with the shape, bring the layer's opacity way down until it blends well with the rest of the fading and highlights. And continue to fan out the shape for a more realistic look. Once you are done, duplicate the layer, select it using the arrow, tap on Flip Horizontal, and slide it over to the other sleeve. Then tap on flip vertical and play with the opacity again. Merge the two layers and add a new one for the body 3D lines we will add next. Repeat the process and merge all layers. And repeat it one more time around the armpits. Now we are getting to the end, and we will add a few more touches to the rendering. Whenever I am almost done with a sketch, I add black touches to corners and the darkest shadows. Start small with a few lowlights, and slowly build up later to the larger fabric folds. These don't have to be perfect, as we will blur them out later. When you are done, go to the magic wand and use the Gaussian blur tool to diffuse the strokes. If it's still too dark, lower the layer's opacity. Now let's switch to a basic paintbrush, and using black, let's add the hard shadows. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect, as we will diffuse it later. Once again, use Gaussian blur, and keep layering up shadows and highlights until you are happy with your final sketch. Once I am finished, I usually do a few thin white and black scribbles for a more stylized fashion sketch look. But you don't have to do it if you don't like them. The more you sketch, the more you'll develop your own personal touch to your sketches. Your hand needs practice. It truly is like a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. Last but not least, I did 2 more rounds of shadows to create some stronger folds. Add a layer, sketch, diffuse, check opacity, and repeat. And that's a wrap, my friends. I truly hope this series gave you some tips on how to take your Procreate drawings to the next level. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them on the comments below. Check out my other tutorials on this channel, and don't forget to subscribe. I will be adding more videos soon. Thank you so much for watching.